Hi everyone, and welcome back to another week and another tutorial. This week I am going to paint something for a restaurant which I have my work hanging up in, and there's a spot on the wall, so I'm going to paint something for that. Now it is going to be themed on Cork City because they love that kind of stuff here in Cork, so landmarks, that kind of things. I'm going to paint Shandon bells, but it's going to be almost a kind of a black and white with a lot of mist, but there's going to be a touch of colour in just Shandon Bell's tower. So it's overlooking the city and there's lots of mist. It's a very misty kind of a cityscape, very neutral colours, but there's going to be a hint of colour then just in the tower itself, poking up out of the mist in the city. Okay, something along those lines I'm thinking. I have a photograph and I kind of just added a little bit touch of colour just to the photograph, and I think it's going to be lovely framed. So I just wanted to do this for the restaurant, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be painting it, why not just do a tutorial and show you how it's done. I hope you don't mind. It might be something a little different to what you might normally paint, but it'll just give you some ideas, and it might spark some ideas in your head about certain subjects that you might like to paint, where you come from, landmarks, that type of thing. So it's just a different angle from something to paint. Do you understand what I mean? Let's try it. I'm excited about this. Now you only need a handful of colours really. It's only maybe 2 or 3 colours. I have a couple of colours on my palette just in case I need them, to save me having to open them. But it's kind of a black and white painting with just a hint of colour. A hint of colour, just a hint. So I'm thinking this is going to be lovely now with a frame on it, and then I'll record when I'm going out to hanging on the wall. I'll take a little recording of that and show you all my work as well hanging. We'll do a kind of a walkthrough. Yes, we'll walk right through the restaurant and I'll show you my artwork. So that's it. That's the theme this week. Grab your stuff and let's get ready and have a bit of fun with this. This is going to really be a nice one. So I hope you follow me along, and if not follow me along, I hope you at least get some hints and tips and even some inspiration. Okay, so let's go, let's try this. Okay, here we go. I have a canvas here. It's primed once, twice actually, and I sanded it very lightly with a very fine sandpaper. Okay, it is size 20 by 16, and it's a stretched canvas. Okay, it has a little bit of a bounce to it, which is nice. I do use a lot of boards as well, but this is quite nice from time to time. Now here's my paper palette, and these are my oil colours. Now the types of oils I use, because I had a question about this, the types of oil paints I use are Georgian. Okay, can you see that? Georgian oil colour. I use these most of the time, and I also use Winton. Okay, these 2 types of colours, they're fine for mixing together, absolutely lovely, and they have a nice, very nice thick colour. Okay, so they don't fall down off of the palette. Now that's just the turpentine, which is, or the oil which is mixed in with the paint. It's just this colour, I don't know why, but they don't slide, they're fine, they're nice thick colours. So what I have is titanium white, Naples yellow, burnt umber, a little phaylo blue, some burnt sienna, some crimson and some black. That's it. I might not even need my sienna, I might not need my Naples yellow, I don't think, but look, we'll mess around with this and see what we can achieve. Now there's a photograph. It looks a bit bluey on the photograph. I'm going to go with a more of a neutral grey kind of a tone, and then I'm going to put a hint of red, kind of a browny red on this, a pinky browny red on this building here. This is Shandon bells. Now in reality this is a kind of a reddy stone. Okay, a very rich red, kind of a pinky kind of a coloured stone. So I'm going to paint that kind of more natural, and I think that'll have a lovely balance then with the kind of the black and white background and lots of mist going along behind this tower. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun, and it'll be a nice challenge as well. Now I did sketch it out just quickly. Took me a couple of goes to get the proportion just right, but yeah, it's just very, very quickly sketched with a pencil and a little horizon line. So that's it. Okay, nice and simple, and you can apply this to any of your paintings. You can maybe do your own type of church or something. It's just an idea of how to create a simple landscape but yet kind of very dramatic at the same time. So let's go and have a bit of fun with this. Now, I have a little linseed oil down here. Turpentine with a little drop of linseed oil. A couple of tablespoons, I suppose, in the turpentine, just to help it flow around nicely. Now, I only just primed my canvas. I hope it's okay. I hope it doesn't soak up the paint too much. I hope it sits on top of it a bit better. In fact, what we could do actually is, do you know what we'll do? Let's take some of our linseed oil and turpentine, yeah? Let's dip our tissue in, and let's just go along. Let's just put this along the sky, okay? Rub it around your sky. And what this does is, it's almost like using, I suppose, a liquid clear on your canvas. It just helps the paint sit much longer on your canvas without drying, without kind of drying in too quickly. If you find your canvas is very dry like that, it's a really good way of doing it. Now, I might even go a step further and get me some linseed oil. Here we are, regular linseed oil. You buy it in any craft shop, and this is also a good way of preparing your canvas. If you're doing a very large area, like a very large sky, and if you find that your canvas is a little on the dry side, I would always put a little drop of this on, just a small drop, and spread it around your canvas. That gives your canvas a nice base to work on. Now, it's completely different to using like a liquid clear, because with a liquid clear you brush that on, don't you? Or liquid white or something like that. But with this, I'm just rubbing this with the tissue, so it's a very, very thin layer going across my canvas, that's all. Alright? Very, 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 very thin. It just moistens the canvas, and it really does help your paint spread around nicely, and it helps you get lovely mist. If I'm doing a mist in a landscape, I would always do something like this, because I can blend my mist in lovely afterwards. Okay, now, let's go. Let's take our small stubby brushes, and I have a bit of yellow on my brush now, so I might have to give this a quick clean on my tissue. Let me just give this a quick rub here. I have a little bit of yellow left over from a prior painting. I just didn't clean it properly, so let me just give this a good clean now. Okay, now that should do. That's pretty clean. Let's dip our brush in our turpentine, wet the brush, and let's take a lot of yellow. Now it's a big sky, so let's take a lot of colour in this. So plenty of yellow. I'm going to take a hint of black. A hint of black. But I want this sky very pale, so that this lovely dark tower comes up in front of it, okay? So a little bit of, tiny bit of black, some yellow, and I might take into that. Let me just think now for a moment. Let me just have a look. We've a big choice of colours here. I know you think there's only a couple of colours there, but there's a lot of choice. I might try a hint of Naples yellow, perhaps, just to soften the grey ever so slightly. So can you see that? This now is very pale, and look how fast that's going across there now. It's spreading right across that nice oily surface wonderfully. And I know you can't see it on camera, but you will, I promise. I might take a hint of the pink, just a tiny bit with the corner of my brush. Now I'm going very, very light with my mixes here, because as I said earlier, I want this dark tower to kind of go right up into the sky and show off that tower. So I'm putting a very pale colour on the sky. Let me take some more Naples yellow, and again I am working with very, very thin layers of paint. I'm not putting on lots of thick paint at all, okay? Just remember that. It's very easy to go overboard with your colour and put on lots and lots and lots of paint early on, but then it gets very, very messy later on in the painting, because you're trying to cover paint over paint, and it just doesn't cover the paint properly. It doesn't cover the canvas properly, and you end up with lots of kind of muddy colours. That's what I find early on in the painting. I always use very thin mixes like this. Okay, there's a fair bit of turpentine in these mixes. Now I can always build up thicker layers if I like later on in the painting, by all means, but I think it's just much easier to control your painting when you keep the mixes very, very thin. Now I might go a little bit on the grayer side, just maybe around the top, so I might take a little touch of black and I might take a hint of blue, a hint. Now that's the only reason I put a small bit of blue on my canvas, or on my palette. I only want a little hint of it here and there, just to create a kind of an atmosphere on the painting. Do you understand what I mean? And soften that right in there now, you see? Soften it right across. Okay, and we'll go on the other side. Little bit of blue, little bit of black, another bit of white, just to thicken it up a little bit. It's a little bit on the thin side there, so I can just drag that across there now as well. And I want to keep this nice kind of bright spot in the centre where this tower is coming up. Again, I am keeping all of this quite sort of dry-ish. I'm not kind of, I'm not going overboard with colour. Now, having said that, we could add clouds if we wanted to. I don't know if I want to add clouds into this painting, because you see, I want the focus to be on the tower, Shandon Bells. That's what the painting is about. It's about Shandon Bells going right up over the city. So that's kind of my focus at the moment. I don't want to go too much with clouds. So I think a subtle sky like this is just nice. Right, now I must take a cup of coffee. I have a nice cup of coffee here. I do apologise, but I love my coffee. Now, we have a nice dark line right across the back here, the city going across, yes? And I think I might switch brushes for this. This is a bit big. Let's get a smaller brush. Let me just fix my microphone here for a moment. Okay, that's better. I hope you can hear me okay on this microphone, by the way. Now, a smaller brush, I said, didn't I? Let's go with something like this, okay? Now, let me just clean one of my brushes here. I left a couple of brushes out yesterday when I was painting. I forgot to clean them and they've gone a little hard, but little drop of turpentine, I'll rub on some tissue and they're fine. Now, I have this brush here. It's kind of a medium flat brush, all synthetic brushes, okay? Very soft brushes, look, very soft. But they have a bit of a firmness to them still, you see? So I love brushes like this. Now let's get in this dark background here. I'm going to start with some black, and I might add plenty of white into this now to make this nice and thick, and plenty of turpentine as well. I want a nice thick colour for this. I don't want very thin colours, nice thick pasty colours. So black, white, let me see now. Again, I'm looking at the photograph, it's a bit bluey. I prefer to keep it a bit on the kind of warm side. So I'm thinking a touch of sienna, perhaps. A little touch of sienna, and of course a touch of red. Now this may be a bit warm for me, okay? Let me just have a look, because you see I want to create some distance in the painting. Let me take some more white, and I might actually try a touch of blue, to be quite honest. I want to create distance, so blue is always a good colour for creating distance in a painting. And again, more white. I want this very kind of soft and pale in the background. That's a bit better, I think. What would you reckon? So let's go along here now and suggest just some, very loosely, some kind of cityscape off in the distance. I'll pull that along there like so. And it's just a very light kind of suggestion, that's all. And let's go along on this side. I'm leaving out the tower. No point in painting over that for a while. Now you'll notice I only went halfway down here, didn't I? That's because I want to create a lovely mist. You can see the mist off here in the distance. So I'm going to just simply take some white on my brush, perhaps a touch of Naples yellow. And let me show you now, let's see what happens now with this. I'm going to go along here and go nice and firm on the brush, circular movements, okay? Look, pushing that nice whitey, yellowy white, well it's not yellowy colour, it's more of just a warm white, up into that grey, see? Creating a nice mist. You see how easy that was? Let's go again. I'll bring it down to the second line, okay, all the way down to the second line, and just going around in circles. And then I'm going to soften it up into that darker grey, you see, just with the tip of my brush, going around in little circles. Round and round and round and round, and vary it, go up and down in certain places, maybe even go right up and out of the painting over on this side, look. Let's create a nice mist off in the distance over here. I'll take another bit of white. Now when I'm doing this, I'm working with just plain paint on its own, no turpentine, okay? There's no thinners in this. And let's soften that right down. So now we have a lovely foggy landscape there now off in the distance, don't we? Nice soft foggy landscape. Now let's do the same on this side over here. And I am damping my brush every now and again. It just helps the paint flow just that little bit. Now when I said dampen my brush, I'm dipping it into my turpentine and I'm drying it well on tissue. It's just a slightly damp kind of a brush, just to help the paint move around that little bit better. There we go, let's soften that up over there. And we have a lovely mist already. How nice is that? Now I do want to create a little bit of detail off in the distance, because there is a little detail over there. I'm going to take a nice small brush, little pointy, go with this one, okay? Little pointy brush. It's a size 1. And I'm going to take some of that distant colour, a little bit of grey, and just add little touches of detail here and there. Look, there could be little bits of rooftops, chimney tops, buildings, all that sort of stuff. It's just to add a little bit of detail, that's all, and to suggest that there's lots of stuff going on off in the distance. Lots of objects. Because it doesn't have to be a completely smooth kind of a straight line all the time. Now, that's even probably enough. It's just to suggest little bits and pieces. How's that, yeah? That look good. And you can even add a little touch of a lighter colour here and there, coming into the mist, so just suggesting highlights from other buildings, that type of thing. You see, I'm just putting a series of marks here and there. And it doesn't have to be anything in particular. It can be just a suggestion, you see? That's all. Now we have that one done. Let's move on and come down to our next one, and it's going to be slightly darker again. So let's add a little bit of turpentine in here now, and this time I'm going to take some brown, some burnt umber, and some black, and I might take a hint of the blue, just a hint. So we have a slightly warmer kind of a grey now, don't we? Now it's still a grey tone, a bit more black there now, look, and a bit more burnt umber, a bit more white. I want to mix up a good bit of this to cover a lot of canvas. So let's mix up a good bit of it. I'm adding plenty of turpentine into this now, and plenty of white. So we have a nice, there we go, a nice creamy colour, look at that, lovely. Lots of paint. Let me have a look. Okay, that's fine. Again, we go along here, just the very same as we did up above it, okay? Very same. And we continue this. Let's imagine it's going through and it's continuing off over here. Now, I just want to cover all of this white, okay? Let's just cover all of this in. In fact, what I might do is, because the canvas is a little on the dry side, I might take another little touch of linseed oil. So it's a good idea now to do this every now and again. It really does help. So let's take some linseed oil and spread that very quickly just around here and there on the bottom, okay? That really helps. Now, that's fine, that's all you need. Just a quick rub with some tissue. And let's go on now and put this on here. Right, I'm going to mix up some more, another batch of paint. So brown, black and white. That was the colour, wasn't it? Let's go right down the side of this lovely Shandon bells. And if you're ever visiting Cork, I strongly suggest that you go to Shandon bells, because if you don't, you are missing out. It's just a wonderful place to go and visit, and it really is the heart of Cork City. You know, everything about Cork is Shandon bells, and you can go for a lovely kind of a walk up into the tower, and you can ring the bells yourself, make your own tune. And it's fantastic, you can climb right up into the tower, very small little narrow steps and walkways, and you actually have to climb over some little timber beams and stuff like that to get right up the top. And you can go up there and look out over the city. It's a fantastic sight. So you should really make it your business, if you're in Cork, make it your business to go to Shandon bells, just for an hour or so, because it's absolutely brilliant. And you really get a sense of what Cork is about. So please do. Now, carrying on, that's my promotion done for today. Carrying on, and let's fill all this in here with this dark grey kind of a colour. Yes. Now we have, so that's our base colour done basically. Yes. Let's now start putting in some detail up here. When I say detail, again, I don't mean detail, I mean suggestions of little bits and pieces. So we have, for instance, a couple of these spouts sticking up here and there from factories, that type of thing, and I'm kind of softening them down into the landscape underneath. And we even have some lighter ones. It's just about breaking up the line, that's all. That's all I'm trying to do. Perhaps put a suggestion of rooftops in there. Okay, just like so. We'll go higher with that one there actually. So you can see already it's starting to look like a kind of a cityscape, isn't it? Lots of stuff going on. And then we could make a slightly darker colour, a little bit of black, and we could add little touches of shadow. Now we have a light side and a dark side on this. I'm going to go with the light side here. So I'll make the dark side on the right hand side here. Just add a little bit of shadow here and there. It does help. And let's put more detail down here. You can see lots of little bits of buildings and stuff like that, can't you, when you look at this section? So it's basically just adding suggestions of light spots here and there. So a little bit of Naples yellow and some white. And look, we can even add a little highlight to this side. little one there, there, a couple of horizontal lines just to suggest tops of buildings, that kind of stuff, you know, chimney tops, all that kind of thing. So you can see what I mean. It's just, I'm suggesting to the viewer that there's stuff going on out there, that there's lots of buildings and all that kind of stuff. Let's put a couple of light rooftops in here and there, like that. Okay. I think the power of suggestion is very, very interesting for me. Suggesting something without actually painting it, I think is wonderful, especially with painting. It's a great thing to be able to do, I find. And I've always been kind of fascinated watching artists, especially some of the older artists. They'd put a suggestion of something on the canvas, and when you stand back you'd see what it actually is. Perhaps a couple around there. I'll put some darks in there now as well, don't worry. So you see, I'm just kind of adding little bits of pieces of this and bits of that. A little part of a roof, you see, and then kind of let it disappear off into that misty kind of background off there. It's a very misty cityscape today. It's kind of early morning, there's lots going on, and you could even add, let me show you, I'm going to add little bits of smoke to some of these. Let's imagine there's smoke coming out of this little spout here, okay? Let's just take a little bit of white on the tip of our brush, okay, like so, and go around in circles, and bring it off, and go up and up and up and up and up, left and right. Now how easy was that? You see? And straight away you can see life. You can see life, there's life happening, there's stuff going on. And you could even do it the same with one or two of the chimney tops if you like. Let's pick one down here. Okay, little one going off up into the distance. And you can almost see the wind is blowing them in a certain direction, isn't it? And that's why it's good to keep everything in the same direction then. You see, a little bit just on the right. So now already we have a lovely smoky cityscape. Isn't that wonderful? Now I'm going to create some more little bits of mist here and there in between. So let's take some Naples yellow and some white. And I just want to use Naples yellow because it gives it a wonderful, like a very kind of, there's something about the Naples yellow with the white. It gives it a certain lightness that I love. It's very, very natural. So now I'm just going to dart in around here and there, look, with this lovely foggy colour. I'm going to soften it up. And the trick with creating fog like this, I suppose, is to keep it very uneven. So don't go uniform right across the middle because it won't look right. So I kind of go up and down and I'll soften it in here, maybe stop and then start again over here. It's about varying your brush strokes, okay? Lean down hard in certain places and take it off in other places. I think that's probably the easiest way of describing it. So you can see now already, look, we've this lovely foggy effect going across the city, don't we? And look at that. Again, sit back, take a look, and it's a real kind of a foggy, frosty, almost a frosty morning in Cork City. Now let's put a bit more just around here. And just be careful because it's very easy to overdo this. Because it's so easy to do, you find yourself putting fog everywhere. So just be careful. Now let me take a little bit more white. I'm going to lighten that just slightly. And there's a reason now that I'm kind of putting a lot of white next to this building here, next to this tower. Because this is going to be nice and dark. And I want that darkness then to really show off in the painting. So it'll be dark against a light background then, you see? So now we have, look, lovely bits of fog going across the cityscape. Isn't that wonderful? So So let's do the same on the other side. Let's just take a little bit of white and let's go along here. Very, very, very dry brush, okay? There we go. Let's try a little dab of Naples yellow in that. So you see, we haven't hardly even used any colours. It's just 2 or 3 colours we've used so far. So you can create a lot on a painting with just 1 or 2 colours, can't you? You don't need a huge variety of colours on your palette to create a lovely, wonderful landscape. I would probably call this more of a monochrome kind of a painting. But again, it's a natural looking painting, isn't it? It looks very, very natural, and it looks very like just a normal, regular morning in Cork City. Okay, now let's start adding some more details. So some more kind of prominent buildings, I suppose. For this, I'm going to take my small stubby brush and I'm going to start adding, I suppose, I'll go with some lights first. So Naples yellow, some white, and then perhaps a touch of burnt sienna. So now we're getting into some of the more subtle colours. Okay, you see? Now we have a rooftop here. Okay, let's just pull that away into the distance and let's suggest some buildings and again some bits and bobs. Alright, it's just, I suppose, an impression of the light catching some buildings. Let's pick up a bit of white. You see? And then we can use the same brush, pick up some burnt umber, perhaps with some of this black, and let's just give some shadows here and there. Again, you see, I don't want to paint the actual buildings and actual details, because I want the painting to have this sort of misty kind of landscapey feel. So I don't want to go painting lots of little details. I will paint a few details, but I don't want to paint too many details, because the focus is on Shandon bells, you see. So just simple little brush strokes, look. Vertical brush strokes, horizontal brush strokes, and it does give you the impression that there is buildings going on down there, okay? And soften it all into the background as well, look, here and there. Now we can add some detail, as I said. Let's take our small brush and let's put in a couple of chimney tops here and there. And we could even suggest a few windows, look, a couple of windows. See how it all comes together. There we are. Suggestion of a little roadway, kind of popping through here and there. Okay, very simple. Let's go over here. Let's give this a bit of shape. And it's great fun. It really is. It's lovely fun and it's great practice. This could be something that you could just paint practicing while you're sitting down at home, nothing else to do, you know. Pick up a brush and start messing. Now, let's get some lighter colours. Naples yellow, bit of white. Okay, and let's put some highlights in. A couple of little highlights just on some of the chimney tops. Okay, see here and there. A couple across like that. See how loose I'm keeping it? Try to keep it nice and loose like this. If you kind of focus right in too much on one particular area and you try and do loads of little details there, it's just not going to look right. You know, I'm trying to balance the painting, give it a little bit here and a little bit there, not too much. Now that would even just do fine because I'm creating more mist down the bottom, you see. Now let me just hit this with one or two more lights just along here and there. Let's go a couple here like that. And it has a real sort of old Cork kind of a feel to it, doesn't it? A real sort of, I don't know, kind of 1900s sort of a feeling to it. Very old-fashioned type of a painting. But that's nice. Now let's create some more smoke coming out of these chimney tops. Remember what we did, look? Round in circles and slightly over to one side. Just like everything else. Let's try that again. Just a small one, just here. Okay. And perhaps just to balance that, let's put one more just here. Now, again, let's sit back and look at this. Wonderful, isn't it? I love it. Now, I'm going to take another brush, my medium flat brush again, give it a clean and some tissue, and let's take some white, this time a touch of Naples yellow, and let's go along down here now and put lots of lovely mist in down here. So you can see where on the photograph it's quite kind of cool, everything is sort of has a bluey sort of an undertone to it, but I just wanted to make it a bit warmer, so I used the burnt umber then to make it that bit warmer, you see. Now I'm just going with this colour for now. I'm sort of just lightening the background very slightly. But then I'm going to add in some really nice bright white, misty, foggy kind of colour, okay? So let's do that now. Let's just dampen our brush again very quickly. Take some Naples yellow and a good amount of white. And let's go down here and add that in. Soften it around. Again, go back into your colour again the second time. And let's go there, that's it, look at that. That's nice now, isn't it? And you see, we're going to have some mist coming across in front of the tower as well. So that's going to really kind of soften everything out, and it's going to just sort of merge into the landscape underneath. Which is why I love painting with oils. You can really create some lovely effects. This would be quite tricky to do now with acrylics because they would dry almost instantly as you put them on. And it would be very difficult to achieve this type of misty scene with the acrylics and then be able to soften everything together, I would say. I used acrylics for a long time, a couple of years, and I used them quite successfully as well, but I just did not like the drying time. Now of course there are mediums you can buy which help slow down the drying, but I find that's just a lot of hassle, having to dip into mediums and then put some in the water and all this kind of carry on. I just find it a bit confusing for beginners. With the oils, it's just turpentine and paint, that's it, nothing else. That's really all you need. You don't need to use lots of these different mediums for painting. You can if you wish, but I find keeping it simple works best. Now, so here we are. How's this? Nice, soft, misty kind of a feeling. Isn't that lovely? Now I might just soften this just a bit up here, because it's sort of cutting through the landscape a bit harshly, isn't it? So I might just soften that off just a bit. And even soften some of the edges up here, look, as well. See, just with the tip of my brush, I'm rubbing the paint around in circles, softening it into the grain of the canvas, you see? There, isn't that better? Okay. That is end of part 1. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back and we will paint this lovely Shandon Bells tower, okay? Don't go anywhere, thank you very much for watching.